To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
What is it about Disney that makes us happy? Is it the magical whistle as your ticket is scanned at the main gate? Is it the seafaring smell of pirate water? Or is it charting a course to a land where you may never grow up? Whether it's singing a familiar song, watching a movie, or riding your favorite attraction for the 100th time, Disney undeniably has a way to warm our hearts, believe in magic, and bring joy into our lives. This is Main Gate Magic, a podcast where we break down and discuss the infectious happiness, delight, and thrill of all things Disney. That video never gets old. Good evening, everybody. It is a little past the hour. Sorry for starting a bit late. It is Tuesday, October 1st. Happy fall, everyone. I can't believe that we are already into October. Episode 25 also. That's another thing that's like blowing my mind. Welcome, Leia, back to the show. Appreciate you being here.
Hello.
Hello. We've got a fun topic tonight, and I can't wait to start bouncing stuff around on this, and I hope people can actually jump in and make comments as well. Of course, our number one fan is here. Can't ignore her. Hello, Patricia.
Hi, Patricia.
Glad to see that you are on. It's good to see you. We're going to go over a few things really quick first. A slight recap, because that's what we usually do on episodes that we don't have special guests. And our past 4 episodes have been pretty incredible. We've had nothing but special guests on. It's been a while since we've been guestless, if that's even a word. The last one we had was Isaac C. Singleton Jr. That was an amazing show. He was able to give us a lot of insight on his adventure as a pirate, as an ape, as a guy in a bar being punched out by people from the Deadpool universe.
A grumpy guy on an airplane.
A grumpy guy on an airplane. Yeah, you people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a wonderful, wonderful guy, and super big and intimidating when you meet him. But he's. I found out that he's actually quite a bit of a storyteller. I love that about him.
Yeah, he was good and goofy. Yeah.
Yes, and Goofy. Oh, speaking of Goofy, I have news about that later on at the end of the episode, but you guys are going to have to wait to hear. Let's see what else. We had Margot Apostolos, who was one of our Ewoks from Return of the Jedi, and she was also a Disney cast member as well for, I think she said, it was 12 years or something like that. Like a really, really long time. And she got to tell us some fun stories about her times at Disneyland, where somebody actually thought that she got shrunk from the Honey, I Shrunk the Audience attraction when she worked outside of it, and a few other funny stories from that, and also her time on the set of Return of the Jedi. We had Miss Gina Rock, who was the Tinkerbell that flew over the castle at Disneyland for all those years until she turned over her wings to somebody else, so she was very pleasant to speak to. And, of course, we had Chris from LMG Vids, from the YouTube channel LMG Vids. And dude is still popping out content almost every single day. I see a little pop-up on my YouTube feed saying, oh yeah, look, now here's Alice in Wonderland. Oh yeah, look, here's another ride in Florida that I took a video of a month ago, but I'm now putting it on my site now because it makes me seem like I'm time traveling here. He can teleport from one park to the... How awesome would that be? You could just teleport from wherever you are straight to one park or the other.
It's amazing. I am blown away. He puts out a video a day. I'm impressed with YouTubers that put one out a week. Wow.
I know.
Every day.
One of my favorite groups to follow is Fresh Baked. I haven't watched his stuff in a while, but his name is Dave, and he goes to the park every day, and I know this is all he does for a living.
Oh my gosh.
But he shows all of the videos on the construction updates and the park news that's happening around between both Disneyland and California Adventures. I don't think he covers any other parks. I may have seen him do a Universal Studios one once, but that was it's kind of far and few between. It's mostly Disney stuff. But he's been doing it for a while, and his site has blown up. He's gotten a lot of followers, and he posts stuff almost daily as well. Sometimes from the parks directly, and other times from his studio at home, where he just talks about Disney news, kind of like what we're doing.
That's amazing. Does Disney pay him to do updates on the park, or is it seriously just YouTube? Wow.
Yeah, no, just YouTube, and I think he's also on Patreon, so he
Oh
gets,
yeah, Patreon.
funding from there as well. So anybody that wants to support him can go to the Patreon site, become a member, and he gives them like, other exclusive content uh to download or something. I honestly don't know. I've only supported one channel ever on Patreon, and I think that was for I think it was for a video game content that I was really enjoying at the time, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give you a few bucks a month, and because I really enjoy
Oh,
what you're
that's
doing.
awesome.
Yeah. But that wasn't for very long, though.
What do you
That was
think,
one.
Jason? Do you think you could go to Disneyland every week, or do you think it'd kind of lose the magic? Or how could
Oh,
you do that?
I I could go every week.
You
I
could?
have
Oh,
said, yeah. Those that know me know that when I retire, I would love to work there. Now,
cool.
the more that we're looking at our future, the more that's probably not going to happen, because we want to be able to get a house once Lisa retires, but
Oh, okay.
it's it's not as easy to do in California as one might think. Most people know this already, but we're now looking to move outside of California when she retires, and just make trips here and there like we do now. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yep.
Oh, that's huge, Jason.
So yeah,
That's
I mean
that's exciting
it's
though.
we got to do what we need to do to be happy and enjoy our final years together as we get older, of course. And she's
Yeah,
gonna retire way before me, because she's been doing her job a little bit longer than mine, and she's been investing a little bit better than me.
yeah,
And we'll make it work wherever we are. Always do.
absolutely. That's an
All
exciting
right.
adventure. Next chapter.
Yes,
Yeah.
always an exciting adventure. Alrighty. Now I don't usually like to draw too much time on the news, but I do have a little bit of news to give. So we are going to go ahead and hop into that particular segment with our fun little. Where is it? There it is. Okay.
It's time for Main Gate Magic News.
It's time for Main Gate Magic News. All right. Well, first of all, the other person that's sharing my screen today had a birthday very recently. What was it, on Saturday? Or is it on
Yeah,
Friday?
Friday. It was on Friday.
Friday.
Yeah, yep.
All right. So we got to play the birthday song.
Oh, thank
To
you.
you. It's not the whole song. It's okay. To you. Happy birthday, Miss Leia.
Happy birthday to me. I'm so
Happy
honored.
birthday. Oh my God.
Oh my
That-
God, I'm blushing.
Are you kaplotzing?
Oh goodness, I didn't get my nails done. Darn it.
It almost sounds like Betty Boop, how she used to sound.
Oh
That's kind of like Betty. Boop, boop, be doop, boop. Okay, there's no way. There's no way I could ever do that.
Oh, no.
But anyway, happy birthday, and I hope
Thank
you had a
you.
wonderful day. Absolutely.
Gonna be
All
my
right,
best
and
year yet.
yes. In other news, we've got some new releases on Disney Plus. One that we are both familiar with, you and I, but another one that you have been watching, but I have not been. Agatha All Along is now streaming on Disney Plus. It is the follow-up sequel, or maybe I should say, what do you call it? A split off from WandaVision, right?
Both, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So, and I know it's Agatha was kind of like I guess she was the antagonist of
Yep.
of WandaVision, but she's the protagonist in this one. Is that correct?
I would say that she is kind of a protagonist, but she reminds me a little bit of Loki, where Loki was the bad guy, but then he kind of has to become the good guy because there's circumstances. God,
Makes
it's a fun show
sense.
though. It is so fun. Like, I'm looking forward to every Wednesday. Like, oh, it doesn't even feel like a superhero show. It's more just these four witches get together and they go into this like spooky road, and it's really a blast.
Patricia says WandaVision was good. Haven't seen Agatha yet. That's kind of where I'm at this point.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, I wasn't a huge fan of WandaVision, and I get so much flack from people when I tell them that because
Surprise.
everybody else loved it. I mean, I thought in general it was a good show, but I thought that the sort of retro flashback stuff to, like, you know, Bewitched and then the Brady Bunch or whatever, how they kind of started progressing the different TV show styles throughout the years. I
Mhm.
thought that was kind of overdone myself. That was my only problem with it. But I've been told by certain members at on Walt's Apartment podcast that I need to rewatch it and give it another try. So I will probably do that. I will wait until Agatha All Along is done, and then I'll just binge watch the whole thing from there and just maybe give it a second thought from there and then give my opinion of it after the fact. Hopefully
Hey,
I'll
there you
feel
go.
different. Yeah.
Well, I think WandaVision was kind of fun, but I think Agatha is just mountains above, like, more fun. It's just such a whoever's directing it, I'm really impressed.
Okay, that's good to know because
Yeah.
that makes a huge difference sometimes when you feel like things are just not pieced together the way they should be. That can kind of ruin it for you.
Yeah, for sure. Especially
Forgot
sequels.
forgot to throw this one up there. Patricia also says happy birthday.
Aw, thank you, Patricia.
And then also streaming on Disney Plus now is Inside Out 2, which you and I have both seen. I absolutely loved that movie. It was
Me too.
fantastic. It was. I know. I've a few people I know that have said, "Why did it even need a sequel?" Because, well, Riley's getting older, and there's new emotions and there's new hormones kicking in.
Yeah.
For those who haven't seen it, it's girls grow up, boys grow up, and there's a lot of different stuff that goes on in your brain. There's peer pressure. There's, the need to fit in. There's, am I being too awkward? Am I being too boring? Am I
Yeah.
being too nerdy? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's in our heads. And the crazy thing is, it doesn't just happen to teenagers going through puberty. It still happens to adults nowadays. So it
For
made
sure.
it so relevant. And that's what I loved about it. It actually kind of made me emotional at the very end because
Mhm.
it touches on anxiety a lot. And that is
Yeah.
something that I feel like is a very big thing nowadays because of just everything that's happening in the world. What do you think?
Oh my God, absolutely. It's if you don't catch it, you can stay in a perpetual state of anxiety. Like I actually viewed that movie kind of almost as like an emotional hug as a teenager forward because you feel heard and Riley actually makes some pretty severe mistakes and to me it just echoed like, hey, it's okay. We all go through that and
Right.
it's
Absolutely.
normal.
Yep.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you have heard of it, but there was an Inside Out ride at Disney California Adventure at DCA
No.
called the Emotional Whirlwind. And it's a
A good name.
repurposed ride. They took it out of the Bugs Land after they shut that down and it became Avengers Campus, and they just rethemed it for Inside Out and moved it to a different part of the park. And it's a fun
Ooh.
little kid ride and everything, but the wall has all of the different memories on it and stuff, and it makes all the noises from Inside Out, and you can
Oh.
hear all the different emotions talking while you're going through it and everything. It's cute. It's not like the most popular ride in the park, but it kind of is, the title of it is relevant to what you and I are talking about for the emotional whirlwind, because I feel like that's what happened in Inside Out too.
Yes. Yeah, I won't give it away to anybody who hasn't seen it, but I loved the end with her neurological how that got figured out. I won't give it away, but I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
Jason, I have a fun question. So
Yeah.
I was
What's up?
talking to my brother about this. So, like with the mom, sadness is at the helm. For Riley, joy is at the helm. Which emotion would be at the helm of your brain the most often in your head?
um,
It could
I'd
be
love
like
to
two of
say
them.
I'd love to say joy. But because I am in general usually a pretty happy person, but there is definitely that
Great.
anger that is sort of like, in the rear seat. He's strapped in maybe with some chains. and he is fighting to get out all the time, but Joy does a pretty good job of kind of keeping him in check, but that doesn't mean he still can't voice his opinion every now and then, if you know what I mean.
He burns the ropes sometimes with his finger.
Yeah, he kind of,
Yeah.
he kind of tells you where to go every once in a while, but he can't really do much more than just like gripe and complain every now and then.
Yeah.
What about
that's
you?
it. Yeah, I would say same. I would say joy, but then I have to say my anger is sadness. There's just always this kind of undercurrent of sadness that I have to like mentally exert myself to look at the positive side, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's worth
Okay.
it.
Yeah,
Yep.
as long as you know how to balance them all, I guess that's where it kind of that's what makes a difference in our day-to-days.
Yep.
It ain't easy though. It ain't easy.
It's not-
Um all right, moving along with Disney news, we just have a few things to talk about in the parks. Hurricane Helene has done some major damage to the East Coast. I know there was a lot of injuries, there was a lot of deaths. Our hearts go out to everybody affected by that. Disney parks did not actually get affected that much. There was no permanent damage done. I know there was a lot of flooding. I saw videos of people walking around in like sort of like calf deep waters in certain parts of the park. I think at the Magic
Oh
Kingdom and
wow.
maybe also in Animal Kingdom. But no major damage. I did some searching today and I tried to find articles of people that maybe have talked about rides shutting down or trees blowing over or something like that. No, it didn't really happen. So
That's
uh,
good.
I'm glad that they weren't affected, but I definitely feel for the families who were affected negatively for that. I think
Yeah.
it's almost over, but I know that there's also another one that they're tracking off the coast of Florida now that's blowing into the west. So
Gosh.
hopefully that one will dissipate quicker than this one did. Um,
Mm.
Halloween season is on at the Disney parks, and I am super excited because I'm actually going to be going down to the park on Sunday. Dad, if you're watching, I am going to be down there. I know you won't join me because, for those of you who don't know, my father likes to call the park Dismal Land. Not that he has never joined me at the parks before, but it's definitely not his cup of tea. So
No pun
if he
intended.
watches this later, yeah, exactly, yeah. But although that is one of my favorite rides, so with that in mind, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a preview of next week's episode because I am actually going to be at the park on Tuesday at 6 p.m. next week, and the plan, as long as technology works for me and I can hear everybody okay and I can see the screen all right, I will be broadcasting live from the Disneyland park next Tuesday at 6 p.m. just for an hour. But I will talk about where I'm at, what's going on, park updates. I will, if you guys want me to go on a ride, I will go on a ride. Something that preferably is outside so I have some sort of a signal to broadcast from still, because a lot of the times you go inside and you just kind of lose it all. But yeah, I figured that might be fun. I had originally hoped to have another person join me down there, but unfortunately they were not able to go. They were going for a different time, and they couldn't go twice in like the same week. So that'll be fun. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. And with the Halloween season on, and I know this is kind of old news for most that are listening to this and actually know a lot about the Disney parks, but the Haunted Mansion it has reopened at the Disneyland park. It is still just a virtual queue. I know they are kind of slowly revealing things as they finish up construction on the queue line on the outside, and they are also still working on the gift store that's going to be at the exit of the ride. But I think that they have opened up that area of Critter Country now, or whatever it's going to be called in the future. I can't remember now. Uh, to allow people to go on the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. So that is open again, but the Hungry Bear restaurant is not yet open. They are still working on the retheming of that for the Country Bear Barbecue, I think is what it's changing to, if I remember correctly. We talked about that about a month ago. A month ago. Good Lord. Where does the time go?
Oh,
But
God.
yeah, things are progressing, but just very, very slowly. And I think there is an opening date for Tiana's Bayou, which is happening in early November. So, but again, old news. just can't wait for that area to be open again. And I can't wait to ride Haunted Mansion again, because they do have the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay happening right now, and that is just an incredible thing. If you guys have never gone to Disneyland during Halloween, perfect time to go. The decorations are awesome, and that overlay is one of the best overlays I've ever seen on any ride ever before.
Oh, I can
Check it out.
imagine.
Check it
Jason,
out.
with the Haunted Mansion, is that the one that at the end it opens and you drop, you free fall?
Nope.
Or is that's a different one? Okay.
The Haunted Mansion uses a ride track system called the Omni Mover, and it's a bunch of chairs that are all stringed together and rotate at specific points along the track throughout the ride, so you can see the different attractions inside. And it takes you, like, you go into the stretching room, which is basically just an elevator, where the portraits all start stretching, and then it opens up into a hallway where you kind of continue your queue, and then you get on your doom buggy to take a tour through the rest of the house, and then you eventually end up outside, where you exit the attic into the graveyard. The graveyard goes into the crypt, and then after the crypt, you exit into the afterlife to leave the ride.
That sounds like so much fun.
I feel like it's one of the rides at Disneyland that probably has the most history tied to it. Maybe besides that and Pirates of the Caribbean, which is, I think, the reason I like those rides so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you'll see.
I'll see.
Day you will see.
Next year.
Yes. And then finally, actually, no, I think that was it. That was my last piece of news. I tried to keep it small, but, I always end up talking more about this stuff just because it's so much fun to talk about. Let's get to the topic at hand, the Disney Renaissance. Now, I had to look up the definition for Renaissance. Do you happen to know it off the top of your head?
Renaissance. I do know that Renaissance, it makes me think of like the Renaissance era of like the 1500s, like medieval.
Yes.
Yeah, like when people were fancy and like had the gowns and the pointed hats with.
Right.
Yeah.
Most definitions online that I found, because like I said, I had to look it up. They definitely talked about the art and literature that happened between the 14th through the 16th century. It was like apparently that many years. I mean, that's a long period of time.
Yeah.
But and I know that's when like Leonardo da Vinci was around, and when he was doing his art and his inventions and stuff like that. But the definition that I feel fits best with this, and it was part of the other definitions that I found online, says a renewal of life, vigor, and interest, etc. So that to me makes sense, because the movies that were being produced by Disney before that were they were not the best in the world.
No.
There are some fan favorites like The Great Mouse Detective and Oliver and Company. Those were some fun movies, but they didn't have the same resonation as the other ones that came out, which I think a lot of them were kind of reboots of original stories, or older stories like The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, that kind of stuff. But some of them were definitely original stories, and the cast of characters chosen, the songs made for them, the animation, which I think was kind of starting to cross a bridge of that blend of 2D animation with some 3D animation inside of it, was really starting to renovate that type of movie. And I think it was like the turning point of saying like, okay, this is where it's all kicking off. And the very first movie that started that renaissance was The Little Mermaid, released in 1989. Now, The Little Mermaid has a very special place in my heart because I actually worked at a movie theater as a teenager in 1989. That was my graduation year, and I was already a Disney fan by then, and that is probably one of the movies that I have seen the most of, because that was my kind of go-to movie whenever, the credits were rolling, or just, if I had a break or something like that, I'd go in there and hang out for a little while, or if I was doing usher duties, I would stand in there and watch it over and over.
Oh, that's so cool,
over
Jason.
and over
Oh my
again.
goodness.
What kind of memories do you have from that one?
Oh my gosh. God, I love that movie. My biggest memory would be when I was like 4 years old. I went into my cousin's room. This was probably like 1993 or 94, and she had this beautiful aerial picture hung up with the beads around it. And she had like this little 90s white TV, and we would like grab popcorn on her bed, and we would just be watching and singing along with Under the Sea and Part of Your World. And then we'd go under her blanket and pretend like we were mermaids swimming.
Ah, love it.
They had a swimming pool also, so Paris and I would pretend we were mermaids, and like every little girl pretended she was Ariel in a pool. Like it's just what you did.
Yeah, I don't think that I ever pretended to be any character from that movie, except for maybe Scuttle, because he was I think my favorite character out of all of them on there because he was such a know-it-all, but he didn't know anything.
God, like he's actually one of my top 3 favorite Disney characters ever. He's so stupid
Yeah.
but genuine.
Yeah, there is definitely a genuineness to him that is untouchable from any other character in that movie. Everybody else seems to have things figured out, but
Bear with it.
he's the only one that knows he has it figured out, but we know that he doesn't really have it figured out.
Yeah, my
It's-
favorite part is when he's like, wah, 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 wah.
Yeah. Good old Buddy Hackett, may he rest in peace. That was he was a very, very entertaining character.
Yeah.
Other actors from The Little Mermaid were Jodie Benson, who I got to meet very recently at GalaxyCon. That was a lot of fun, and she actually got to sing Part of Your World during the panel that we sat in for her on. And I swear to you, despite how long it's been, she still sounds just like she did back in 1989. It was
That's
uncanny.
incredible.
I would love to
Wow.
play it here, but I don't want to get in trouble for it because she even said, you guys can go ahead and record it, but just make sure you keep it under 30 seconds. And I'm like, I may have recorded a little bit more than 30 seconds. I may have. I'm not saying I did. I may have.
It's in the realm
Disney?
of possibilities.
It is in the realm of possibilities. It is theoretical that I may have actually recorded more than 30 seconds. All right, stick that in your legal documents and smoke it.
Yeah, right?
Christopher Daniel Barnes, who played the voice of Eric, another great character. Pat
I love
Carroll,
Eric.
another one we lost fairly recently, who played the voice of Ursula. Buddy Hackett, we talked about. And, of course, Samuel E. Wright, who was the voice of Sebastian. Teenagers, they think they know everything.
Oh, that sounds just like him, Jason. That's awesome.
He was another probably my second favorite because he's just always the one that's told to babysit and he doesn't even want to. He just wants to compose and do symphonies and stuff like
Yes.
that. So,
I love Sebastian.
have you ever seen The Rescuers Down Under?
Oh, heck yes, I have.
Yes.
That's one of my childhood favorites.
That was the next one in the lineup. It was released the very next year, 1990. And of course was the sequel to the original movie, The Rescuers. I didn't look up what year that came out, but I'm pretty sure that one was back in the 70s. It's got some cobwebs on it at this point. But a fantastic film in its own right. The first movie was about the two mice, Bianca and Bernard, and they go to rescue Penny from the lady who quote unquote adopted
looking
her.
lady.
Yeah, it was Madam. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna draw a blank on her name. Anybody in the chat? There's like only 2 of them, but like anybody can say her name. I know Snoops. I think Snoops was the name of her little henchman, who reminded me a lot of LeFou from Beauty and the Beast.
I can see that.
Yeah, oh my god, I'm gonna have to circle back on this. It'll probably hit me after the show's over, but anyway, she was a bad lady.
I don't remember her name. I saw the Rescuers Down Under,
Medusa.
actually.
Her name was Medusa.
Wait, I called her Medusa. I was joking.
Did you? Oh, I didn't even hear you say that. I'm sorry. I was probably talking over. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, but yeah, her name was Medusa, and she had this like swamp buggy that she rode around on that was sputtering smoke all the time and everything. And they had to. She wanted Penny to get the
diamond.
The diamond. It was like that was so. She was obsessed with that. And then she had Brutus and Nero, the two big crocodile as her big pets, which
They scared
another
me.
reference that kind of reminds me of, how Ursula had
My
Flotsam and
poopsies.
Jetsam. Yes,
Yeah.
my poopsies.
Yeah.
Turned into chum basically.
Yeah.
But anyway, Rescuers Down Under, I digress. Had some amazing cast of characters as well. Bob Newhart. It's really sad. A lot of these people are not even with us either. Bob Newhart, Ava Gabor, John Candy, Tristan Rogers, who was the young boy who played Jake,
Okay.
and then George C. Scott, who was a fantastic villain. Just
Oh,
has
he was amazing.
yeah, he has such a gruff voice but when he kind of softens it up and makes it little like gentle to talk to the little boy, to help, because I
Yeah.
think he wanted Marahute's egg, I think, right? The eagle's egg or something like that.
I think he wanted the egg, and I think he also wanted to kill her. I think Jake was trying to
Like
save the.
like get her as a trophy or something, because I think he was like a
Oh,
hunter, or he was a poacher.
he had killed the father of the egg because Jake asked the eagle. He's like, "What? Where's the dad?" And the eagle went, and
Oh
he's like,
God, that's right.
and then the bad guy went with the feather to signify. Yep.
Right. Okay, that's it. I need to
Yep.
rewatch that movie. It was such a good film. And actually, I
So
did
good.
I did a little fun fact about that several episodes back, that I think it was the Rescuers Down Under who actually, no, it was the Lion King. It was the Lion King that did a full scene in a movie as a trailer. But I thought that the Rescuers Down Under had done it,
Oh.
because the first time that I remember seeing a preview of the Rescuers Down Under, it might have been at the end of a VHS tape that I was watching before. It might have been at the end of The Little Mermaid, for all I know.
Yeah.
But they showed the entire scene of when Cody goes down the cliff and he gets to Marahute's nest, and then he falls, and then she goes
Oh,
down
yeah.
and rescues him.
Mhm.
And, there's that music that plays, and then she spreads her wings, and then he puts his arms out, and he's got
Yeah.
tears coming out of his eyes.
Beautiful
It
scene.
was beautiful, and I got like so emotional. I'm like, "Oh, that's so beautiful. I want to fly on the back of an eagle too."
And I
I
wanted
mean,
to also.
yeah, I mean, I was still a teenager, but I was still getting into my adulthood. But I mean, it's still it created that emotion that I just will never ever forget. But another fantastic movie. Well done, Disney. The
Yes.
next one in the lineup of the Disney Renaissance was Beauty and the Beast,
Oh, that movie's okay.
1991.
It's
Oh,
it's
shut
only a
up.
little good. It's only a
It's
little bit
okay.
good. Oh my God, that movie is magical. The intro is
Yes.
my favorite intro to any movie in the world. It's just so
That was you're talking about, okay, well, which part of the intro are you talking about, when the storyteller tells
Oh yeah.
everything and they do the stained glass
Yeah, it just starts
window
with
depictions?
that tune. It's like doo 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 doo
Yes.
doo, and it just pans into the deer is drinking in the forest, and oh, I'm getting chills.
Yes.
Oh, it's so
Yes.
good.
That is used. I think they were still using multiplane cameras for that back then.
Yes.
Yeah, because they had all those extra layers, and they just kind of like zoom into all those layers, and it makes it seem like it's three-dimensional, but it's really not. But no,
Yes.
yeah, a fantastic film. The characters in this movie were some of the most colorful, I think, ever in a Disney movie.
Yeah, it was
And
musical.
Oh yeah, and I don't think, and I'm not just talking about Belle and Gaston and LeFou and the Beast and everything, and I'm talking about like even all of the castle characters like Lumiere and
Lumiere.
Cogsworth and
So that
the wardrobe, Babette, yeah, exactly,
Mrs.
Mrs.
Potts.
Potts, yes,
Yeah.
100%, Chip, and just I mean, how cool would it have been to have been like a casting director for Disney back in that day? I mean,
Oh my
I
God,
can't
so
imagine all the
fun.
stories that we could have had from all of that. That would have been amazing. Oh, look,
Oh,
he found me. What's
oh
up, Dad?
hi.
We were talking about you earlier, saying how you love to call my happiest place on earth Dismal Land. But it's all
No,
in
Jason.
fun. You know I love you.
Yeah. Jason, I don't know if you remember me asking this question when I was out in California 3 years ago. It was a while ago, but
Yeah, I think it was about 3 years.
You actually agreed with me because I asked you, but I didn't tell you my answer. I asked if Walt Disney came back to life after like the Little Mermaid forward, which movie do you think he would be the most proud of and feeling like, yes, this is Disney? And you said Beauty and the Beast, and that's what I
Yeah.
thought. It just encapsulates that magic so amazingly. It's like
Yeah.
what everything Walt stood for.
I would
Um,
probably still choose the same one to this day. I would probably
yeah,
choose that one. There's a lot of them to choose from that were amazing and they touched me just as much as that movie did, but I would say that he
yeah.
probably would be the most proud about that. Now, I don't know if you remember or if we've talked about this since you've been on the show, but or if you've seen the episode, but uh technically Walt is coming back to life. Have you heard about this?
No.
Okay.
Wait, what? AI
Disney
or
is
something?
bringing Disney is bringing him back as an animatronic for in the Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln building at Disneyland on Main Street.
Oh my
So
gosh.
it's there's right now that theater is just has a a projector on a screen. They talk about Abraham Lincoln. It's a show basically all about him. But
Okay.
now what they're doing, and that's the reason why that particular attraction is closed right now, they're changing the stage as it is to a rotating stage. And what's going to happen is that it's going to change from Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, and then there's going to be another show separate from that on that rotating stage that is going to have an animatronic of Walt Disney talking, I'm sure, about his upbringing and the creation of
Oh,
Disneyland, the movies and stuff like that. I have not much more information about that, but I am very
mhm.
much looking forward to seeing that.
Me too. Oh my gosh. I hope that's there when I come. That would be so special.
Because you remember what it was like when we went to the Walt Disney Family Museum, right?
Yes, I didn't even see it coming, Jason. When we got to the end and we were seeing like his like toothbrush and like I didn't even feel the tears, but they were coming down because I felt like I
Oh
got to
yeah.
intimately know him throughout the tour. It was,
Yep.
oh, I would do that again in a heartbeat.
Yep. If there is one person like living or dead I would love to meet, that is definitely the guy that I would love to shake hands with and just sit down
Yeah.
for an hour and talk. That would be incredible.
Yeah.
All right. Um let's see. Let's talk about the characters really quick in Beating the Beast before we run off to the next one because of course we are already running out of time and there's like
I
6 other
know.
movies.
I could talk for
Um
like 3 more hours about this.
I know. We might have to make a part 2 of the Disney
I think
Renaissance
so.
period. Yeah. Maybe we'll do that. Who knows?
Yeah, I
Because
want
I
to.
don't think we're gonna get through all of these. I mean, we still got okay. Just so you guys are aware, for those who don't know the other movies included in the Disney Renaissance period, we did say it spanned over a period of 10 years. The next one coming up before we finish talking about Beauty and the Beast, because we're not done with that yet,
Yeah.
is Aladdin in 1992, which is a fantastic movie. You squeaked. The Lion King, 1994. Pocahontas, 1995. The Hunchback of Notre Dame, or Notre Dame, 1996. Hercules, 1997. Mulan, 1998. And it finishes with Tarzan in 1999. All amazing, amazing movies. Now,
Home
I
run.
confess that I have seen all of those movies, but there are probably 2 of them that I've only seen maybe once or twice. The other ones I've probably watched over and over again to the point where I can quote lines.
Yeah.
So, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that a little
Okay.
bit later. Let's get
Yeah.
back to Beauty and the Beast because that's a good one. Paige O'Hara as Belle, of course. And you
Yes.
were talking about the opening, but even the opening with the song, how it kind of transitions from that
Hmm.
storytelling scene into the soft music of Little Town.
Yes.
It's such a perfect transition, and it is already painting a 2 characters, I would say at the time, definitely Belle and the
Yep.
town itself. The town itself, comprised of all those people, is like a character in itself, and I loved that
Yes.
about the opening. And of course, it shows LeFou and Gaston at near the end as well, and we can tell. I don't know if we could tell he was the bad guy yet, but he was definitely a mooch.
Arrogant. So
Yeah.
arrogant. You know, it's really cool too that they were showing throughout that song that I think is brilliant is in the beginning the narrator said at the very end, for who could ever learn to love a beast, which is
Oh
outside
yeah.
appearance. The entire song about Belle is she's beautiful, but she's crazy because nobody saw her inward beauty. Then Gaston says, I'm going to marry her because she's the most beautiful girl in town, but he doesn't care anything about her. So that whole
Nope.
song is about the closed-minded people of that town that only look at the exterior.
Yep. Absolutely. 100%. I think you
Yeah.
nailed it. That's perfect. Cuz yeah, everybody just I mean, it's kind of like a little bit of a metaphor based on the theme of who Belle is, how much she loves to read. They judge everybody by their book cover.
Yeah.
And they judge them on their exterior, not by what's on the inside, and that is definitely the theme of that whole opening scene there. And then of course we get to inside of Belle's home where Papa is doing his crazy inventions and everything,
Yeah.
and they think he's even crazier than Belle because he's just a tinkerer and a madman because he's always inventing stuff and the house is always blowing up.
Yeah,
But
exploding.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I was going to talk about later on is that, a lot of these movies, so far, two of the three that we've spoken about so far, The Little
Mhm.
Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast, have had live action remakes. And I know Disney has plans to keep that trend going.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard anything about, at least not The Rescuers Down Under. I don't think they're going to touch that one. I don't think that should be made into a live action movie myself, but that's just me. Little
Yeah,
Mermaid.
agreed.
The Little Mermaid, I loved. It was really good. It was a decent. I actually, okay. I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. I didn't love it. I liked it a lot. I
Way to
had a
put it.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a problem with the animals. They made them too realistic, not cartoony enough, and
Flounder.
yeah, well, Flounder and Scuttle. I mean the actors that played them, fantastic. I love Aquafina as
I
Scuttle.
do too. She did good.
But I'm not quite sure I would have done the same thing. I mean, I always try to keep a positive spin on this show. I liked what they did. I just think I would have done something different. But I still
Mhm.
enjoyed the movie, if that makes sense.
It does. And actually, I was so pleasantly surprised with that film. I'd say it's one of my favorite Disney remakes so far. I thought Ursula, she hit it home run. Like, oh my
Oh,
God. Oh,
um,
Melissa McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy. Yeah,
Oh, she was perfect.
she nailed that role. She saved that movie for me. I really do believe that.
Yeah, yeah, and I thought they really captured that beautiful heart of Eric. Like, Eric is probably the kindest Disney prince, in my
Yeah.
opinion, and, they really found a good actor to, like, encapsulate the sincerity and, genuineness. Prince Eric.
Dad, creative artistic differences always.
That's okay.
That is why that's just the world we live in. I mean, everybody's critical of everything, but I mean,
Yeah,
we see the forest for the trees. We know there's beauty in everything, but it doesn't mean that we like everything. Like it's just the
yeah.
way that we are. It's how we're built. It's how we're wired. But I'm gonna kind of flip it, and I'm gonna say that Beauty and the Beast is actually my favorite remake so far. That
Oh,
one
how
was
come?
really well done. Yeah, I was impressed by the fact that they got to have all the actors actually singing the songs. I think everything was sung live while they were recording. They didn't like dub it in later or anything like that. They actually recorded them
Wow.
singing during the movie. That's what I remember about how it was being made. So that
Mhm.
impressed me, number one. That movie also gave us a bit more insight into Belle's past and the passing of her mother and how that
I
affected
like
her and her
that.
father. And I think there was a lot more depth given to the Beast in this one as well.
Yes,
It
I
it
did like that.
it kind of in the animated movie, he was very, very beastly. Now, I could be biased because we know on the inside he's kind and he can be nice and he can fall in love and stuff like that. So I kind of knew what was going to be happening, but
Yeah.
the live action movie kind of softened him up a little bit more earlier on in the film before it did in the animated version, if that makes sense.
Yeah, remembering back to the film, I think I can Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I like too how he took her throughout the book, and he just opened up. You saw more of his personality and his insecurities with not being able to read as much as Belle or educated as much.
Yep.
Um, yeah,
But that was kind of what their connection point was. It seemed like that's when the walls started coming down and they started, getting to know each other a little bit better.
yeah.
But anyway, I started talking about the actors and I just completely stopped. But I said Paige O'Hara was the one that played Belle. And then where's my list here? Bobby Benson, because I'm not as familiar with the names on this one as
Me
I am with
neither.
other movies. But Bobby Benson was the gentleman who played the Beast. Angela Lansbury, of course, who played Mrs. Potts.
Oh, I love
Richard
her.
Richard White, who is a phenomenal actor in himself, who played Gaston, even though he was, very self-centered and very, like you said, he was very. What's the word
Oh,
that you
arrogant.
used? Arrogant.
Yeah,
Yes, thank you.
perfect
Uh,
voice though for Gaston, the deepness and
oh,
yeah,
absolutely, yeah, and just so full of himself. But I mean, I can't imagine his voice sounding any other way. So I think, regardless of if I remember the names or not, I mean, way to go, Richard. That was amazing.
perfect. Yeah.
And then Jesse Cordy, I think is how you pronounce his last name. He was the guy who played LeFou, and I love LeFou. I
Oh
mean,
my God, I love
yeah, he's a little bit
Turn
different
him
in
down
the
flat.
animated. Yeah, there's a little bit of a difference in between the LeFou in the animated movie versus the LeFou in the live action, because I think the LeFou in the live action um, has feelings for Gaston, in a
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
And he's the one that kind of wants Gaston, which
yeah,
obviously they would never have done in the animated version. But again, we live in
yeah,
a different world, and I know that everybody's trying to make it more relevant to today. And, I
yeah.
was
Speak
fine
to
with
that.
it.
Good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
think in
think
the
a lot of people had
cartoon.
issues, but not me.
Hey, no, yeah, me neither. I think in the cartoon, LeFou kind of more wanted to be Gaston and be seen with him. Like he's just like, hey, I might be somebody if I'm seen with this hunk. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Because
yep,
he was like less than half his size. He was portly. He had big gaps between his teeth. His hair was always messy,
yep,
but he was his best friend, and I think that was the only thing that he had to cling to, because there wasn't anything else in his life but
yeah,
Gaston. There's been so
love
many other
LeFou.
cartoon character. Yeah, there's been so many other cartoon characters in throughout history where there's always been a big tough character like a dog, and there might be like a little teeny tiny dog that's like, you and me are friends, right?
Oh my gosh, yes, like Looney
So
Tunes, the bulldog with the
right,
red sweater and the little
exactly.
yippy dog. Yeah,
Yep, you and me is friends, right, Spike? Yeah,
yes,
totally.
yep.
So that's Beauty and the Beast. We'll cover. I don't know if we can do this one that quickly, but the next one on the list is Aladdin,
Oh,
1992.
we
You
could do it
think you
to be
think
continued with Aladdin.
you think so?
Like
All
we could
right, we
talk about it, and then in the next episode, we could still pick it up.
we can just kind of pick up from where we left off. Yeah, maybe, and then we
Yeah.
can get the opinions of hopefully our other co-hosts that were unfortunately not able to join us today. So, but anyway, Aladdin 1980. I'll at least talk about the actors that played it, because this is another one like The Little Mermaid. I felt was very good. The music was incredible.
Oh, it's so
Um,
good.
and of course, Robin Williams completely stole that movie. Completely stole it. And I have to
Amazing.
tell you, the transition between the animated version with Robin Williams as the genie and Will Smith as the genie in the live action, he did a lot better than I thought he would do. Now, I didn't
Yeah.
think he was going to be horrible. I was just like, I couldn't see it at the time
Yeah.
until I saw it at the time, and I'm like, okay, he's kicking it. He's nailing
Yes.
it. He's knocking it out of the park.
I was so
And
impressed, and I didn't feel any competition with Will Smith trying to be Robin Williams. He made it his own. I was
hmm
so impressed with that.
I think there was a lot of people who felt the same way. I know a lot of the reviews that came out afterwards were pretty much on the same page with
Hmm.
that opinion. And the effects had to be on par with the animation of what the genie could do from the original, because they went crazy with the genie. I mean, he was like duplicating himself everywhere. He had different versions of himself, like being different characters, and of course
Yeah.
Robin Williams with his extensive voice impersonations of other characters throughout the entire history of man.
Yes.
It,
Oh my god.
he had some big shoes to fill, and though he didn't quite do the same kind of genie as Robin Williams, and he still filled the shoes pretty well, I think, and because Will Smith, he's a funny guy. He started off in comedy. Well, he actually started off in rap, then comedy.
Yes,
But,
I've actually seen
good
behind
choice.
the scenes footage of Robin Williams voicing the genie, and that alone is so fun to watch because he's all over the place when he's talking like the genie. He's like, wow! And it's like,
You
ah!
have to be. You
Yeah.
have to be. Yeah. Dad says Robin Williams, August Rush, a must-see. I don't know if I've seen August Rush.
It's a very good movie. Yeah,
You've
it's
seen
a
that
good
before?
one.
What's that one about?
It's about two musical people that meet serendipitously one night. They have like this instant connection, fall in love, and they have a child together, but then I forget how they part ways, but their child is just brilliantly musically
Oh, little
intelligent.
little Freddie Highmore is in that.
Willy Wonka kid, right? The kid that was in the second Willy. Yeah.
The second one with the horrendous one that I will definitely go negative on for this show, but it's not Disney, so it doesn't count. But yeah,
Oh my God. You
I
cannot
did
be
not
Gene
like
Wilder.
that movie. No. But yeah, he's also the Good Doctor. I don't know if you watch that show on ABC.
I've heard of it, but I never saw it, and I know that he also played Norman in the Bates Hotel.
Yes,
That
yes,
was
that
pretty
is.
good.
I wish Lisa was here to talk about that because she loved that series a lot.
Okay, I kind of loved it too. I didn't know how you guys felt about it, but my mom and I love that show so much.
Awesome. I'll have to check that one out though. Thanks for the recommendation, Dad. Let's see, what else did he say? He said best music. That's cool. What kind of music did they play?
It's been like
Do you
10 years
remember?
since I saw it, but it was like orchestral music. It was very pretty.
Let's see. He says we're getting like a whole synopsis here. We got to fill the time somehow, right? Her dad tells her that the baby died at birth and put him in an orphanage. And
Yeah.
what does it say? Music savant. Oh, he's a savant. That's so interesting because the Good Doctor, he's autistic in that one. So it's kind of like along the same sort of talents. And I guess he plays guitar.
Yes,
That's
it's really
pretty.
cool.
That's pretty vague because he can play guitar in any kind of. I just meant like what genre? Like was it rock and roll or was it everything? Was it like
It was
bluesy or?
it was more orchestra, if I remember, and
Oh, okay.
he would do that thing where he plays the guitar but slaps it and makes a drum beat out of it as he's playing or
Oh, I
something.
love that.
Yeah, it was
There's a
really
few people that I
beautiful.
see on TikTok and YouTube that are just incredible musicians when they do that.
Me too.
It's like they're playing 5 different instruments at once, but it's just the guitar. It's just the
Yeah,
guitar.
stunning.
What else can we talk about Aladdin before we start signing out? We got a couple more minutes. We can kind of get into it. So let's talk about the actors on that one. Scott Weinger was the gentleman who played Aladdin.
I love Aladdin's voice.
Yes. Let's see.
Linda Larkin.
Linda Larkin is the one that played Jasmine. Robin Williams, of course. Gilbert Gottfried, who played Iago. There's a big surprise! I think I'm gonna have a heart attack and die from that surprise.
And
let's
I
see.
will have the power to get rid of
Get
you.
rid of you. And Jonathan Freeman as Jafar. Okay, there's something I can
So
talk about
good.
right there.
Okay.
Although I loved the remake of Aladdin. There was a lot of great
Here we
things
go.
about it. I really do feel that they should have made the new Jafar very similar to the old Jafar.
Thank you.
Because that Jafar in the animated movie was scary.
Yeah.
He was just so conniving and so vicious and is willing to do
Clever.
anything. Yeah, he'll kiss up to the Sultan and he'll bow and kiss his feet if he has to just to get into the power he wants, that he has been seeking and desires.
Yeah.
And the new one, very soft spoken, very, very. I mean, I could tell it was like a different kind of villain more, and it's like they flipped the coin and said, well, instead of this, let's just make it the complete opposite. Let's don't give him like very evil voice. Let's just make him a little bit more soft like this, and more
Yeah, Jason, I
plotting
totally
and
agree.
conniving. And I mean,
Yeah.
it's got its own sense of villainy in it, but I feel like they should have just made it like the original.
There were only a few things I liked about him, like when he was talking to Aladdin on the sand and he stole his something from him, and I was like, "Oh, that's good." But Jason, that was about it. I totally agree. I wish and this was a beef I had with Disney on the live remake. Everybody wanted to see Jafar turn into a snake. It's Disney. They have the budget. Why the hell didn't they show the snake? That would have been
I
so
know.
cool.
Rick 'em, break. Stick a sword into that snake.
You
Jafar, he's our man. If he can't do it, great.
crush
You-
him,
you know-
Jafar.
Yeah, crash, squeeze him like a yeah. We could totally quote that like all day. And I think we have. I think that's exactly what we did all the way up to the family museum when you came over that one time. That was a lot of fun.
It was.
But anyway, we are short on time. I know we started a little bit late, but we are getting. Oh yeah, it is already 2 minutes before the end of the hour, so I think we'll go ahead and end it there. But we will pick up again. We will do another one just as much as we need to get Terry Harden back on the show to actually ask her the questions I meant to ask her before we got completely sidetracked. We will do the same thing with this episode, and we will bring back the rest of the movies. Maybe less news and more talk about the movies that will complete that Disney Renaissance period.
That sounds amazing.
Yep. Let's see. One final comment from Pops here. Missed Lisa tonight. Give her a hug for me. I will definitely do that. I'll be seeing her in just a few moments here. All right. So, in case you guys haven't seen the little ticker that's been creeping across the screen this entire time, I'm just going to remind you, probably for the last time, about the store that we have on TeePublic. And the reason I'm saying the last time is because, folks, I just am not selling anything on there. I've had a couple of friends buy some stuff here and there, but that's about it. Nothing fancy, nothing special. And I'm thinking of more ideas. I'm designing more ideas. I haven't put them up on the store yet, though. I haven't because I haven't finished them. But if it's not gaining any steam after this much time and this much advertising, I'm probably just going to go ahead and take it down after a while and just save the designs for myself unless somebody says, hey, bring the shirts back. But anyway, if you would like to know about the store, in fact, you know what? Here, I'm going to take a little extra time. And I'm going to go to teepublic.com. And let's see. Let me see if I can share my screen here. I just did it before the show. I know I can do it again. We did it before. We'll do it again. Here we go. All right. So appearing on your screen now should be TeePublic. And if I go into my account and I view my store, you guys can actually see this is the store right here. Leah, can you see it?
Sure can.
Okay, go. So there it is, Main Gate Magic. That is the name of the store. There's me, the designer. And my name is Jason Braden, host of Main Gate Magic Podcast and artist for this page. Designs and our show are primarily Disney-inspired. Enjoy. But not a lot of people have been enjoying them. I mean, take a look at this one, people. Look at this. We were just talking about Aladdin, and we have a T-shirt based on Aladdin. Phenomenal cosmic powers, and then itty-bitty living space. I mean, that's one of my favorite designs. And as far as I know, I have not seen any. I researched these things and I'm like, okay, as long as there's not a design already out there for it, I'm going to make it. So, if there is a design out there for it, I'm going to make it my own and change it up a bit. But this is how I saw that one. And there's a ton of them. And if you guys can see down below here, you can also have this design done on hoodies. There's a tank top there. There's a hat. There's a sticker. There's a t-shirt. There's a mug. And you can even go to, let's see, accessories. What else do we got? Oh, look, there's a phone case. There's a button. There's a tote. There's a magnet. It's got tons of things you can put these on. And all you got to do is just click the one that you want and add it to your cart. So if you guys are looking to buy something off the store, go to teepublic.com. And I'm going to show you on this video here. You just do a search for main-gate-magic. But instead of hitting enter here, you have to go down here where it says artist and then click that and it'll take you to the designs that I have for the store. And there's all my stuff. And from there is where you can actually click the design and then choose what you want to put that design on. This site has t-shirts for sale all the time. It says $23 right now for this particular one, but I see them drop down to $16 like once every couple of months. So check it out, check it often, tell your friends. And if for some reason it just does not keep selling anything, then I'm probably just going to go ahead and close it down, just as you know. But anyway, I digress once again. I'm always digressing. How do I get out of this now? There we go. Stop sharing. All right, folks. Well, we're going to... Oh, let's see. Dad says, if I win the lottery tonight, I will shop. Okay, well, I'm hoping that you're going to do more than shop. We've had discussions about that before, and maybe he'll buy my house next to Disneyland. We're going to wrap it up with that, you guys. Thanks very much for those who joined up. And if you want to catch more about Main Gate Magic, find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. We're everywhere. Just look for Main Gate Magic. We're the only ones on there for the bright blue and yellow logo. Leia, thanks again for being a co-host on this and filling the rest of the time with all of these wonderful discussions. I know that I definitely have a Disney partner in crime with you, for sure.
Oh,
So thank you very much. Patricia says, have a good night. You too, Patricia. Looking forward to seeing you sometime soon. And we will see you guys all next week. And if you missed it, I'm going to do a really quick follow-up to next week's episode. I will be streaming live from Disneyland. I'm going to try. I hope it works. If it doesn't, we may not actually have a show, but we're going to give it a shot. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And the week after that, I told you something about Goofy. You said the word Goofy, and I'm like, oh, there's something that I need to tell about. We are going to have Jim Megan on the show that following week after I get back from Disneyland, who is the writer of a Goofy movie. So if you guys have never seen that movie, you have to watch it. It is a fantastic kind of coming of age movie, father and son, family movie. It's so much fun. The writing is fantastic.
That movie is perfection.
Yes, Jim Megan is a funny guy. He's a great storyteller, and he is a goof in himself. So I think it's going to be a great show. So I'm really looking forward to having him on there. And until next time, guys, we will see you same day, same time, same channel. Love you all. Good night.
Bye.